I'd never dropped my daughter off at school before. Most mornings I was already at work before she even woke up. My wife usually handled everything, but after her mother passed away during the summer holidays, she had to travel out of town to help with the funeral arrangements. So for the first time in years, it was just me and Hilda, and honestly, I loved it. The car rides, the random conversations, the way she talked about absolutely everything like it was the most important thing in the world. Hilda was only 6 years old, but sometimes it felt like she understood people better than adults did. As we drove toward the school that morning, she sat in the back seat, kicking her little shoes against the chair while giving me directions I already knew. "Turn there, Daddy," I smiled. "Yes, ma'am." A few seconds later, she leaned forward slightly. "Daddy?" "Yeah?" "Was school scary when you were little?" I laughed. "Why would it be scary?" "Because of the dinosaurs." Then she burst into laughter at her own joke. I don't know why, but hearing her laugh always made everything feel lighter. I asked if she was excited for her first day back. "Yeah," she said softly. Then after a pause, "My new teacher is Mrs. Gibson. Layla says she's really nice." "Not going to miss your old teacher?" The answer came instantly. "No." Something about the way she said it caught my attention. "She was mean." I looked at her through the mirror. "How mean?" "She was always angry. She didn't like fun. One time she shouted at me because I cried." That bothered me more than I expected. Before I could respond, Hilda suddenly smiled again. "On the last day of school, me and Charlie played a trick on her." "A trick?" She nodded proudly. "We were in the art room, and when she went inside the storage cupboard, I locked the door." Then she giggled. A harmless little prank. At least, that's what I thought. I dropped her off outside the school gates a few minutes later. She hugged me quickly before running toward the other children waiting outside. I stood there watching her for a moment, completely unaware that my entire life was about to change. As I walked back toward my car, I passed a group of parents talking quietly near the entrance. One sentence made me stop immediately. "Mrs. Baker still hasn't shown up." Another parent lowered her voice. "She hasn't answered her phone in weeks." I heard nobody's seen her since the start of summer. Mrs. Baker, Hilda's old teacher. My stomach tightened instantly. I turned around and walked straight back toward the school reception. I don't even remember what excuse I gave. Something about my daughter forgetting her coat in the art room before summer break. The receptionist handed me a key without hesitation. The art classroom sat behind the main building. One of those temporary portable units schools always seem to have. The closer I got to it, the worse I felt. I kept replaying Hilda's words in my head. I locked the door. The key shook slightly in my hand as I unlocked the classroom. The room was silent. Dust floated through thin beams of sunlight coming through the windows. Everything looked untouched. Then I noticed something sitting on the teacher's desk, a handbag, still there. My breathing became uneven. Slowly, I turned toward the storage cupboard. Every instinct in my body begged me not to open it, but I walked toward it anyway. The cupboard door was locked. My heart started pounding. I reached forward carefully and turned the latch. The door creaked open, and something heavy collapsed forward onto the floor. The smell hit me first, then the sound, a wet thud against the carpet. I stumbled backward violently, covering my mouth as I saw her, Mrs. Baker, curled up tightly inside the cupboard, her skin stretched thin across her bones, her clothes stained dark from weeks trapped inside that tiny space, dead. My legs nearly gave out beneath me. All I could think about was Hilda, my sweet, innocent little girl. She thought it was a joke. Just a stupid, childish prank. But nobody came looking for Mrs. Baker. Nobody checked the cupboard. Nobody heard her. And now, I have no idea what I'm supposed to do. If I tell the truth, my daughter's life could be destroyed forever. But if I stay silent, then I'm hiding what really happened inside that classroom. I stood there outside the art room, shaking uncontrollably. And for the first time in my life, I truly didn't know what the right thing was anymore.